So, good morning, one and all. So, in the last class, we have seen modulation of amplitude. So, we have also seen its spectrum, its bandwidth, its power efficiency. Now, we will see one more aspect of this AM, that is demodulation. So, as I told you already, demodulation is exactly opposite of modulation. So, what is the demodulation? It's the process of recovering your original message signal. So, what is the demodulation? It's the process of recovering your original message signal. Okay. So, it is opposite to the modulation. Now, this is the diagram which illustrates the concept of demodulation. So, to this demodulator, what is input? Modulated signal. Output will be a message signal. So, you can also call it as a demodulated signal. So, input is modulated signal, output has to be your message signal. So, in this way, we are recovering your message signal back. It is nothing but recovery. Okay. So, from the modulated signal, you are getting message signal. So, that is called recovering your message signal. So, it is nothing but demodulation. Now, so this demodulation is carried out by a device called envelope detector. You can also call it as a diode detector. So, in the shortest form, I will call envelope detector as a ED. ED stands for envelope detector. So, from now onwards, I will call envelope detector as ED. Okay. Now, so I told you about this AM signal in the last classes. So, in AM, the envelope follows message signal. Otherwise, in AM, the envelope contains information about message signal. Okay. Now, so what would be the clever way of recovering your message signal? Okay. Now, in this AM, so the envelope is just like your message signal. So, the clever way of recovering your message signal is you just extract this envelope. So, if you get the envelope of this signal, almost you got your message signal. Okay. So, the clever way of demodulating a AM signal is getting the envelope of that signal or extracting the envelope of that AM signal. So, if you can able to get this envelope from this signal, if you can able to get this envelope, okay, so you almost got your message signal. So, almost your message signal is recovered. Okay. So, for that purpose, we use envelope detector. Now, as the name itself indicate, it is detecting the envelope of the given signal. So, whatever you give as a signal to the ED, output will be envelope of that particular signal. Even if you give this signal as input to the ED, you get output like this. Okay. So, you give any signal to the ED, the output will be envelope of that particular given signal. So, if you give this signal to the ED, you get output like this. So, that is the job of ED. So, what is the job of ED? It has to extract the envelope of given input signal. It can be any signal. So, as I told you, so it has to recover message signal by detecting the envelope. Okay. One more important thing is it works only when your mu is less than 1. So, when mu is less than or equal to 1, so there is no envelope distortion. I told you in the last classes, whenever your modulation index is less than or equal to 1, so there is no envelope distortion, and so in that scenarios you can use this ED for the demodulation purpose. If mu is more than 1, what happens? So, you get envelope distortion, and so in that case detection of your message signal will be difficult. Otherwise, when mu is more than 1, demodulation is not possible. So, when mu is less than or equal to 1, in this case only demodulation is possible. In other case, where mu is more than 1, demodulation is not possible using this device called ED, envelope detector. So this is property of AM. So you can read now. So this is the basic simple circuit diagram of ED. So it contains very low cost components. It is very simplest form. So it is very cheap and very simple, and it doesn't require any setup. You can even design these things in lab also. Okay. Now what it contains? It contains resistors, capacitor and diode. That's it. Nothing more. So this is very simple to design. So let us see what is diode. You know diode, its operation also, forward bias, reverse bias. So when it will be forward biased, when the voltage at this side will be more than this side. So when the voltage at this side is more than this side, it will be forward biased. So in forward bias condition, we replace diode with short circuit. Ideally, we replace diode with short circuit in case if it is forward biased. Now suppose voltage at this point is more than this point. Voltage at this point is more than this point, it will be reverse biased. In the reverse bias, we replace diode with open circuit. So this is a capacitor, which is a storage element. So what is the job of the capacitor? It has to charge, and it will be later it will be recharges. Charging and discharging is the job of the capacitor. Now these are resistors. Now you can clearly see here, input is modulated signal, output is message signal. Okay, so this is called recovery. What it is called as recovery of your message signal. So that is done by this device called as envelope detector. Now this process is called demodulation. Now here we are carrying out the process of demodulation by using a circuit known as ED. Okay. Now, so what is the operation of this ED? It's very simple. So what happens? So you can look at this diagram. So here this blue color is your modulated carrier. Okay. So what happens here is, so during the positive off cycle of this carrier, this positive off cycle, I am not talking about full cycle, only this off cycle. So during positive off cycle of the carrier, what happens to diode? So during the positive off cycle of the carrier, so what happens? So initially you assume that capacitor is uncharged, which means so the voltage across this capacitor is 0. Initially the voltage across this capacitor is 0. Now, so during the positive off cycle of the carrier, so what happens? Here you get some signal, some positive signal. Here what is the voltage? 0. Now here some positive voltage, here voltage is 0. Obviously, so voltage at this point is more than this point. So it will be forward biased. Then what happens? You will replace this diode with what? Short circuit. So then what happens? So this capacitor starts charging. Why? Because so S of t is connected to the circuit. So S of t is here. What is S of t? This signal only. S of t is connected through the resistor RS. This will be short circuited and your capacitor starts charging. Okay. So let me repeat. So initially capacitor is having no charges, which means the voltage across this capacitor is 0. So when you apply any signal, so during the positive off cycle of that carrier, so you will get some voltage here. Here voltage is 0, so it will be forward biased. So you replace with short circuit. In that scenario, so your capacitor starts charging. Why? Because source is connected to the capacitor. So capacitor charges. So capacitor charges like this. Now, so what happens after some time? So capacitor charges to the peak value of the carrier. Okay. So to the peak value of the carrier. So it charges to the peak value of the carrier off cycle. Okay. So what happens? It is charging. So after some time, so the voltage across capacitor will be maximum, peak voltage. So here after some time what happens is capacitor charges to the maximum value of input carrier. Now what happens again, here voltage will be maximum, here voltage will be minimum. Okay, so otherwise voltage at this node will be more than voltage at this node. Why? Because capacitor has charged to the maximum value. Now in that condition what happens? So it will be reverse biased. If it is reverse biased, what happens? It will be open circuited. Now what happens? If it is open circuited, so this part will be losing contact with the rest of the circuit. Now you are left with only capacitor and a resistor because it is open circuited here. So you are left with only this RC filter, R and C. So in that case what happens? Capacitor starts discharging. Is it okay? Now simply, so during positive half cycle capacitor charges. Okay, so during negative half cycle capacitor discharges. Okay, so this is what happens. So during positive half cycle diode will be forward biased and capacitor charges to the peak value, and during the negative peak cycle, negative half cycle, so capacitor discharges because diode will be reverse biased. Okay, now this color represents charging, discharging of the capacitor. Okay, so when diode is on, means diode is forward biased, so it is charging like this. So when diode is reverse biased, it is discharging like this. Okay, now so this is the actual output you get. So it's almost you are getting envelope, more or less you are getting envelope. Okay, so this is a simple working of your envelope detector. So principle of operation is what? So during every positive half cycle, so diode will be forward biased and capacitor charges to the peak value of the input voltage. So as soon as the capacitor charges to the peak value, so diode stops conducting because it will be reverse biased. So now if it is reverse biased, you can replace that with open circuit and you are left with only R and C. So that's why now capacitor discharges. Now this process continues in the next half cycle also. So it repeats. So during positive half cycle capacitor will be charges. So during negative half cycle it will be discharges. So this process repeats for each and every cycle. So finally, so your envelope will be recovered successfully. So output will be proportional to your message signal. Here output is not exactly message signal, but it is proportional to message signal. Can you tell me what is the output of this ED? I told you in the last classes you get some 1 plus Ka M of t you get. So some DC shift and some Ka into M of t. So anyway that won't be a problem. So you can able to recover successfully. This is simply circuit diagram explaining the operation of ED. Okay, so charging, discharging in each and every cycle. So this is this line represents final output of the ED. Almost that is envelope. Okay, output is proportional to M of t. This is the principle of operation of ED. Now, so there are some problems with ED also. The problem is, so we have seen the discharging. So capacitor discharges through R. Okay, so we know that if there is a RC circuit, so what is the time constant? R into C. Okay, so that is the basics of networks. Okay, now so tau equal to RC. What is the tau? Discharging time constant. So if it is small, suppose if R into C is small, so tau is small, means discharging time constant is very small. Then what happens? So output falls very rapidly. Okay, this is what happens. So when the discharging time constant is small, means it should discharge fastly at the maximum rate. So this is how it discharges, these black lines. So this is how it discharges. Okay, so whenever tau is small, means time is less, So discharging will be fast. So what happens? So if it is so the envelope will not follow the signal. So what do you get is, so this is the desired signal. This dotted line will be a desired signal. Actually that should be the desired. That is what we want. But if tau is small, time is less. So discharging should be done fastly. Okay. So how it discharges? Like this, very fastly. Okay. So what you get is, you get like this. You get spikes, something like this. So you don't get this dotted line. What you get is, you get spikes. So discharging, again charging, discharging, charging, discharging, charging, like this. So you cannot fully recover your message signal if it is so. Okay. So that is the one problem. Another problem is, if RC is too large, means time is more. So discharging time is more. If it is if the time is more, generally what happens? It discharges slowly. Correct? So it has got more time to discharge. Obviously it discharges at a slower rate. Okay? Too slow. So what happens here? You can clearly see here. Suppose it is discharging like this, very slowly. Okay, what do you get? So actually you need this dotted line as output. That is a desired output. But what you are getting? You are getting like this. Okay. So in the second case also there is a problem. You cannot recover the signal correctly. Okay. So both are problems. So our time constant neither too small nor too big. It should be optimum. Okay. So I told you the problems of having a time constant small as well as large. So it should not be neither large nor small. So it should be optimum. It should be an average value. Okay. So this is very, very important. So RC must be between 1 by FC to 1 by FM for the good or better performance of ED. Okay. So you have to choose RC very carefully. So how it should be? It should be between 1 by FC and 1 by FM. What is FC? Carrier frequency. What is FM? Message frequency. So you have to choose an optimum time constant RC. So that is between 1 by FC and 1 by FM. So if you choose between these two, you don't get any these two problems. You can avoid these two problems by choosing an optimum time constant that is between 1 by FC to 1 by FM. So for better performance of ED. Okay. So what do you mean by that? So here, so that is a design specification. So you have to choose R into C. Okay. So the product of R into C should be between 1 by FC and 1 by FM. You choose like that. Okay. So then there won't be any problem. So that is a design specification of this ED. So that's why it is very simple. That is also very simple. Just you have to choose R and C, the product of R and C between 1 by FC and 1 by FM. If you choose like that, you get the better performance of your ED. So let us study the advantages of ED. I told you already, it is very low cost, it is very simple, it doesn't require any setup. You can even design in labs also. Okay. So these are all the advantages. Now we will use these detectors mostly in AM radios. Okay. So in AM radios mostly the demodulator is ED. Now, so yeah, I told you in the previous classes. So whenever mu is more than 1, you get a distortion called envelope distortion. And just now I told you, if mu is more than 1, you cannot demodulate your original AM signal. So in the last classes we have seen, so this is the one of the cases where mu is more than 1. So if that is so, your envelope will be negative like this. Now, so if you apply over modulated signal to the ED, you get output like this. Okay. So this is the over modulated AM signal where mu is more than 1. So if you apply this signal to ED, If apply this signal to the your demodulator, that is ED, now so output will be like this. Okay, now this is the envelope, actually this is envelope, but output is like this. How these two are related? You can clearly see. So if it is negative, here it is negative, in this region it is negative. Now what happened here? It has become positive. So positive is positive only, this positive portion is positive only, so but negative portion has become positive. So positive remains positive, but negative becomes positive. So if you observe these two, what is this? It is a mod of m of t. If it is m of t, otherwise if it is envelope, this is a mod of envelope. Okay, now this is the output of ED if and only if you apply an over modulated signal. So this is not the perfect recovery, correct? So this is not the perfect recovery. So you are not recovering exactly your message signal. Okay, so in remaining two cases where mu is equal to 1 or less than 1, how is output? Output is proportional to m of t. In the two cases where mu equal to 1, mu less than 1, so output is proportional to m of t. That is desirable. But whenever mu more than 1, so output is proportional to what? Mod of m of t, like this. Okay, so that is not the faithful recovery. So that's why we cannot demodulate your AM signal using ED whenever your modulation index is more than 1. So that is one of the drawbacks of AM. So demodulation is not possible when it is over modulated using ED. Okay, so this is what happens. Now this is called envelope distortion. Okay, so there is a distortion. Actually it should be like this, but output is like this. Okay, so positive remains positive only, but negative becomes positive. So that is nothing but mod operation is happening. What is happening? So we are getting mod of m of t, not m of t. So mod of m of t will never be equal to m of t, because see here you are missing the negative regions, correct? So this never be equal to m of t. Otherwise this will never be proportional to m of t. Okay, so this is the not a faithful recovery. Okay, so that's why demodulation is not correct in this case. Okay, so that is about AM. So we have seen what is the modulation, what is demodulation, what is spectrum, what is the bandwidth, what is the power efficiency. So these are the major aspects of any modulation scheme. Now, so the drawbacks of AM are you cannot demodulate whenever it is over modulated, and it has got poor power efficiency. So the reason is, I told you in the last class, so the reason for poor power efficiency is you are carrying a pure carrier which is not having any information and that is having more power. So that's why, so you can improve your efficiency by removing or suppressing that carrier. Okay, so this leads to another type of modulation scheme. Okay, so let us go to the that modulation scheme. So that is called one more modulation scheme just like AM, that is double sideband suppressed carrier. So by now you might have understood what is the exactly this modulation means. In this you are suppressing the carrier which was present in the previous AM technique. Okay, so why you are suppressing? To get the better power efficiency, Now, so in the previous AM, you just remove the C of T term, the pure carrier. You get another modulation scheme that is known as double sideband suppressed carrier. So simply you call it as a DSB-SC. Okay, so it is one more type of modulation technique. Okay, now so DSB-AM, I told you already, AM is also known as DSB-AM. So DSB stands for double sideband. So this is a DSB equation, correct? DSB-AM equation. So this is the pure carrier. Now what I am asking is just remove this carrier, because so it is wasting our power. Okay, it is eating our power, even though it is not carrying any information and it is eating our power. it is consuming our power, so which leads to poor power efficiency. Now you can remove this because anyway it is not having any information that is useful to us. Okay. Now so you can remove this. So if you remove this, you get another new modulation scheme known as double sideband suppressed carrier. So you are suppressing the carrier. Okay. So if you suppress the carrier, you will get only two components in the spectrum. What are they? Double sidebands, upper sideband, lower sideband. So there won't be any carrier. So the carrier is being suppressed. Now, so suppressing the carrier, we get DSBSC. Now that equal to simply x of t I am calling now m of t into AC cos 2 pi FCT. So you can remove this AC also, not required now. Okay. So remove this pure carrier, neglect a Ka. This anyway it is constant. You can neglect it now. So you are left with only these two terms. What are they? M of t AC cos 2 pi FCT. That is what the x of t, that is DSBSC equation. Now, so I told you already. So more or less modulation means multiplying message signal with carrier. So that's what is happening here. Okay. So this is another modulation known as DSBSC, double sideband suppressed carrier. Now what is this? What is a method of generation? Simple. Multiply two signals. Which two signals? Your message signal and carrier. So this is the generation of DSBSC. So that is called as product modulator. Product means it is multiplying a message signal with a carrier. M of t into C of t. That's it. What is this? You can also write this is equal to M of t into C of t. So nothing more than that. So x of t equal to M of t into C of t. So that is a DSBSC modulation. So this is what is a generation of DSBSC. Now let us continue with the x of t equal to M of t into C of t. Now here your message is being multiplied with the carrier. Now this is spectrum. So I am not writing all the things because already we have done these kind of calculations in case of AM. So just remove the carrier component. You are left with this spectrum, isn't it? So we have done already. So there are only two major components. So in AM there were three major components. What were they? Carrier component, upper sideband, lower sideband. But in this modulation, so the carrier is being suppressed. So you are left with only two components. What were they? Obviously upper sideband and lower sideband. So this is no carrier component at FC. So upper sideband, lower sideband, upper sideband. Okay. So this is, we'll see. Now spectrum. This is spectrum of DSBSC. So if you remember the spectrum of AM, what is the difference between those two spectrums? So here at FC there is no component. Correct? Here also there is no carrier component. So the carrier is being suppressed. So this is the spectrum of AM signal which has got three components. Okay. So two sidebands and one carrier. But in DSBSC we are removing one carrier. Which carrier? Pure carrier. So if you remove this, you get only this triangle. Only triangle without this impulse function. That is a spectrum of DSBSC. Now this is the spectrum of DSBSC without carrier component. Obviously, so that is suppressed. Now what is the bandwidth? Same. Bandwidth is not changing. It is again 2W. So this is simple example. Now this is the DSBSC waveform, or clearly, so this is the DSBSC waveform. Now, so you can observe one important thing here. So I have written here. What is that? So the modulated signal undergoes a phase reversal whenever the message signal crosses 0. So if you observe this waveform very clearly, so this is a message signal. This red color is a message signal. Okay. So whenever message crosses this 0 axis, there is a phase reversal. Here also here there is a phase reversal. So whenever this red color message signal crosses this axis, 0 axis, there is a phase reversal. Here also there is a phase reversal, because here also it is crossing 0 axis. Here also it is crossing 0 axis. There is a phase reversal. So what is the phase reversal? So phase reversal means phase shift of 180 degrees. Phase shift of 180 degrees, which means if it is positive, if it is plus, it becomes minus. In the same way, if it is minus, it becomes plus. Now you can clearly see this waveform. Okay, here the waveform is like this. Some waveform is there. Okay, this waveform, this part, this region, only this region. So now after this message crossing is 0, how is the waveform? So negative of this waveform. So this waveform is negative of this waveform, minus of this waveform. You can clearly see. So it is like this. Okay, let me go like this. So it is like this, like this. Okay. Now after this, it is not continuously going. So what should have happened actually? It is like this, like this, like this, like this. It should have gone like this. Correct? But instead of that, it is going like this. Okay. So you can clearly observe. So the waveform in this region is negative of this region. In the same way, so waveform of this region is negative of waveform of this region. You can observe clearly later. So otherwise, you can clearly see. So if there is no phase reversal, so the waveform would have been like this. So it is like this, like this, like this. Next, it would have gone like this continuously. But so instead of going continuously, it is having a phase shift for phase reversal. Okay. So when it is happening, whenever the message signal crosses the 0 axis. Okay. So that is one of the important points to be remembered in case of DSB-SC. Okay. So let us study DSB-SC in detail. So if m of t is am cos 2 phi fmt, so this is c of t, x of t, this is x of t now. What is x of t? Simply m of t into c of t, that is am cos 2 pi fmt into ac cos 2 pi fc t. Okay. Now, so this is what x of t finally in the time domain. Okay. So this is a frequency domain. So it is what is that? Am ac by 2. So you take this simple calculations. I told you this type of calculations in the last class also. So I don't want to repeat all those things again. So this is USB, this is LSB. Okay. So this is just like AM but without carrier at the FC. Okay. Everything is similar except so there is no carrier at FC. So this is spectrum finally. Okay. This is spectrum finally. So this is spectrum of DSB-SC when m of t is am cos 2 pi fmt. So we have drawn spectrum for similar example in case of AM also. What was there? So there was a carrier at FC also here also. But in this example it is missing because we have suppressed it or we have removed it. Okay. So this is spectrum of DSB-SC for a single tone modulation. Now, so let us go to another concept, power efficiency of DSB-SC. So in DSB-SC, so power in sidebands is equal to total power. Okay. So here we are not wasting any power because we are not transmitting any extra carrier, pure carrier. Okay. So we are transmitting only 2 sidebands. I told you. So the useful power lies in the sidebands only, or sidebands contain useful information. So that's why so there is no concept of wasting power. There is no question of wasting power in case of DSB-SC. So useful power is useful power by total power. So useful power in power in sidebands by total power. So it is same. So power in sidebands is equal to total power. PT equal to PSB. Power in sidebands equal to total power. So what the power efficiency will be? So what will be the power efficiency will be? 1 or 100%. So it is not wasting any power. That is simple meaning. So now we have improved the power efficiency by suppressing the carrier. Now, so let us go to the last aspect of DSBSC, that is the demodulation. So how to demodulate AM? We have used a device called envelope detector. Now here we don't use that. Okay, so here so the envelope of DSBSC is different from message signal. Okay, here in DSBSC the envelope does not follow message signal. Okay, so that's why here we cannot use ED. Okay, so in AM I told you so many times, envelope follows message signal. That's why so we have used ED. Now here envelope does not follow, or envelope is different from message signal. So that's why here to recover message signal we don't use ED, envelope detector. And one more thing, so X of t undergoes a phase reversal whenever the message signal M of t crosses 0. Now, so if ED is not the better option, so now how to demodulate DSBSC? So that is called, we have something called coherent demodulation. We'll see what is that. So this is what X of t. X of t is modulated signal. Here X of t is modulated signal. R of t is received signal. Okay. So here what is happening? So we are multiplying X of t with what? Cos 2 pi fct. Okay. So again in the demodulation we are multiplying the modulated signal with carrier, again carrier. Okay. So here I have written very clearly, you can read it. So demodulation can be carried out by multiplying with coherently generated local carrier at the receiver. Okay. So this is a modulated signal, and what is the received signal? So you have multiplied your modulated signal with a carrier signal. Okay. Now this is what demodulation. What happens? AC M of t cos 2 pi fct, that is multiplied with cos 2 pi fct. Okay. So this is what you get. Here I am not writing AC again and again, so it is not required. Okay. So AC M of t cos 2 pi fct. AC M of t cos 2 pi fct into cos 2 pi fct, because again you have multiplied your transmitted or modulated signal with cos 2 pi fct. That's why you get cos square 2 pi fct. Now AC M of t, so I am simplifying this. What is cos square theta? 1 plus cos 2 theta by 2. Now it becomes 1 plus cos, what is 2 theta? What is theta here? Cos 2 pi fct. So what is 2 theta? 4 pi fct by 2. Now this is what you get at the receiver. So this is what demodulation is. Okay. Now if we simplify further, it is AC M of t by 2, AC M of t by 2 plus AC M of t cos 4 pi fct by 2. Now, so you know already M of t is nothing but a baseband signal. I told you already. So every message signal is a baseband signal. Usually all message signals are baseband signal. So this is a low pass signal. Otherwise this M of t is a low pass signal which is having very low frequencies at the starting. Whereas this is not a low pass signal, because so you are multiplying M of t with cos 4 pi fct. So can you tell me what will happen? So now this is just like modulation property. I told you in the previous classes. What is happening? You are multiplying M of t with cos 4 pi fct. So the modulation property says, modulation property of signals and systems, it says, so there will be shifting, correct? So there will be shifting to the right side and to the left side. How much shifting happens here? Not fc. How much? 2 fc. Okay. Now, so this signal will be having frequencies centered around 2 fc. So this will be a pass band signal. It is not a band pass signal. Otherwise, this is a having high frequencies, not low frequencies, because so you are multiplying m of t with cos 4 pi fct. So according to modulation property, it will be shifted to 2fc, not only fc but 2fc. Okay, so it is having very very high frequencies. So that's what I can say. Now, so choosing a low pass filter of suitable bandwidth w, we can eliminate this term. Okay, so if you pass this term with to the low pass filter, so low pass filter, you know what is low pass filter will do. So it allows low frequencies and rejects high frequencies. Okay, that is simple working of low pass filter. Now, if you pass this signal, entire signal through the low pass filter, so this will be passed, this will be rejected. Why? Because it is having low frequencies, it is having high frequencies. So this is what I have written here. Finally, so this diagram illustrates the demodulation of DSB-SC. So what it is called? Coherent demodulation. What is the name of the demodulation? Coherent demodulation, or also called synchronous demodulation. So what is the name of the AM demodulator? Envelope detector. Now here the name of the demodulator is synchronous or coherent demodulation. Now what exactly we are doing here? So we are taking x of t. X of t is nothing but DSB-SC signal, DSB-SC signal. So x of t is nothing but m of t into c of t. I told you already. Now, so that is again multiplied with a carrier. Please remember, what carrier? Local carrier. We call it as a local carrier. Okay. So it is same carrier, again it is same carrier. So I have not written amplitude here, but no problem. Okay. So cos 2 pi fct. Now x of t is multiplied with cos 2 pi fct, and the resultant is passed through the low pass filter having a cutoff frequency of w. What is w? It is a bandwidth of our message signal. Finally, you get r of t. What is the r of t you are getting? Okay. So this is what we have done. Okay. So we are taking DSB-SC signal, that is multiplied with the local carrier cos 2 pi fct, that is r of t actually. So this is what you get. Now if you do some mathematical calculations, this becomes like this. Finally, this is what you get. But so see, this is demodulation. What is the purpose of demodulation? Recovering of m of t. Now, so here we need only this m of t. That is our desired signal. We don't want this signal. This has to be removed. Okay. How can you do that? By passing this entire signal through low pass filter. Okay. Of cutoff frequency how much? W. Because so what is W? That is a maximum frequency of our message signal, or we can also call it as a bandwidth of our message signal. Now, so we are designing a low pass filter having a cutoff frequency that is equal to bandwidth of our message signal. Means, so if you pass this entire signal R of t, that is this much, equal to through low pass filter, so your low pass filter retains this part, rejects this part. Agreed or not? Okay. So that is a simple working of low pass filter. Finally, you are left with only this part. What is that? AC by 2 into m of t. So that is not a big deal, because AC by 2 is a, after passing low pass filter, what is happening? AC by 2 will be it remains. This will be rejected by low pass filter. So R of t, that is output of demodulator, AC by 2 m of t, that is proportional to m of t. Okay. So AC by 2 is a constant. So finally, output of the demodulator is proportional to input signal, input message signal. So that is a basic concept of demodulation, which means so you record your message signal successfully. Okay. Now, so why it is called synchronous or coherent? So the meaning is synchronous. The meaning of synchronous and coherence is what? Now, so you can clearly see here we have two carriers. Okay. So this carrier is at the transmitter or at the modulator, correct? So the first carrier is at the modulator. So this carrier is at the demodulator. So we also call it as a local carrier. Okay, see, so just you can think of like this. So suppose if you take a mobile scenario, okay, so you're talking over a phone, you're talking over a phone with your friend, okay. So who is the modulator? Your mobile phone is a modulator because that is modulating your voice signal. Who is the receiver? Your friend's mobile is a receiver, okay, because so that is demodulating the original modulated signal, okay. Now, so what happens is, so this cos 2 pi of ct is a carrier generated in your mobile because that's a modulator. Your mobile is a modulator, okay. Now, so this cos 2 pi of ct is a carrier generated in your friend's mobile because that is a demodulator, okay. Now here, so I have taken both carriers or both carriers as the same, but in practice it may not be the case because so these are generated in two different devices, so we cannot guarantee that they will be exactly same, okay. So suppose these two carriers may have some slight different frequencies or they may have some slight phase differences, okay. It is possible because after all, so these two carriers are generated in two different devices, so nobody can give guarantee that they will be exactly same, okay. But here I have taken both carriers to be exactly same, okay. So no phase offset, nothing is different, everything is same, okay. So that's why it's called synchronous, okay. So there is a synchronization of the carrier at the modulator and at the demodulator, or coherence, that is also called as coherence. So that's why it's called coherence demodulator, okay. Now, so as I told you just now, so there can be a loss of phase synchronization, means so the carrier that is generated or the carrier that is used to modulate and the carrier that is used to demodulate may not have same phase. So they have some phase differences. So that is nothing but loss of phase synchronization. It may happen, okay. So if it happens, so let us see the consequences, okay. Now I have taken so two carriers with some phase difference. So here is this carrier is used to modulate the signal. So what is the phase here? 0. Here the carrier, local carrier, which means the carrier that is used to demodulate the signal having a phase of some phase of theta. Now, so they don't have same phase, they have same frequency, but so they have a different phases. So there is a loss of phase synchronization, okay. So what happens if it is so? What happens? So theta is called phase error, okay. What is phase error? So the phase difference between the carrier at the modulator and the carrier at the demodulator or at the local carrier, okay. So now what happens? You calculate product of these two. What do you get? So AC m of t by 2 cos n to cos b, again what do you get? You get like this, okay. Now, so please remember here I am carrying the process of demodulation if there is a loss of phase synchronization. Now if there is a phase error, what happens to the output of demodulator? That's what we are trying to get it, okay. Now this is what happens. So in the previous example, here theta is 0. I did not take any phase difference as well as any frequency difference. So I have taken both carriers to be same. So if theta is 0, what happens? So you get theta 0, you get 1 year, you get 4 pi fct, okay. You got exactly same. But here let us assume that there is a loss of phase synchronization, okay. So you get like this. So I hope you are following my calculations at least, okay. Now, so after passing the low pass filter, what happens? Okay, so I'm not done any elaborations for this. So I hope you can do this. What do you get? AC m of t by 2 cos 4 pi f c t plus theta plus AC m of t by 2 into cos theta. Correct? Now, if you pass these through low pass filter having a cutoff frequency of W, what do you get? You get AC m of t by 2 into cos theta. Extra term is, what is the extra term you are getting? Cos theta. So it was not present in the previous example because I have taken, so there is no phase error. What I have taken? They have same phase, means what is theta? 0. There is no error. That's why theta equals 0. If theta is 0, what is cos 0? 1. So it becomes exactly the previous example. But here I have taken some phase error. Okay. So this is what you get. So this is the output of your demodulator. So actually it should be exactly m of t. But not only m of t. So the extra term is cos theta. So this is a phase error in local carrier. It causes attenuation of the output signal proportional to the cosine of the phase error. So this, because of this term we get some attenuation. Why attenuation? Because cos theta maximum is 1. Correct? When it is 1, when theta is 0, when theta is 0, when there is no phase error. Okay, it won't happen. So obviously, so cos theta is always less than 1, I can say. That's why there is attenuation. Correct? So you are multiplying this AC by 2 m of t with a quantity that is less than 1. Obviously that is called as attenuation. Correct? Okay. So if theta is 0, I told you it is nothing but your coherent demodulation. Okay. If theta is 90, what do you get? You don't get anything. It's very important. What is called? R of t is 0. Why? Because if theta is 90 degrees, what is cos 90? 0. So output is 0. So here, whenever the phase error becomes 90 degrees, the output of your demodulator is 0. You don't get any output. Okay. So that is the biggest problem of having a phase error. Okay. So what do you mean by that? Suppose theta equal 90 means cos 2 pi f c t plus 90 becomes sin theta. I mean sin 2 pi f c t. Correct? Plus or minus, leave it. So cos 2 pi f c t plus theta, if theta is 90 means cos 2 pi f c t plus 90, that is it becomes sin theta. So which literally means, so at the modulator the carrier is cos theta or cos 2 pi f c t. At the demodulator the carrier is sin 2 pi f c t. If that is the case, you get 0 output. What do you get? At the demodulator you don't get anything. Okay. So that is the effect of having a phase error. Clear? Okay. Now this is what the diagram is. So this is a demodulator if there is a phase error. So this is what we have already, low pass filter, you get this much. So this is the output of your demodulator if there is a loss of phase synchronization or if there is any phase error at the carriers of modulator and demodulator. Okay. Now, so let us take one more condition. Suppose, so see, cos 2 pi f c t means it has got a frequency also. Okay. So there may be loss of frequency synchronization also. That also may happen. I told you already. So both carriers at the modulator and at the demodulator are having same carriers, which means they have same frequencies, same phases. So there may be loss of phase synchronization as well as loss of frequency synchronization, or both may be at loss. So I have taken, suppose if there is a small frequency error delta f and a phase error, okay, then this is the output of the demodulator. Okay. So if there is a loss of frequency as well as phase, this is the output of your demodulator. Okay. So that's why, so yeah, this is a problem. You are getting this extra term. Correct? So this is what the problem of having a phase error and frequency error. Okay. So always we try to maintain coherence or synchronization between carriers. Okay, this is what we have seen.